All right. Uh, Welcome, guys, to the season finale of the Mutant XPerience podcast, episode 10. Tonight, as you can see on your screens, my special guest is Ty, aka ReNiC, one of the Third Strike Family Fun originals. I guess it's okay to call you that, right? You were one of the originals, sort of? Maybe?
Well, I mean, it really depends on how far you go
Uh
back.
huh.
But I mean, I was there for the
Uh
majority
huh.
of the time, all the way to the end. So, yeah.
This is gonna be a really cool show. For those of you who know a little bit about me, obviously, I got introduced to the Third Strike scene in SoCal, and so me and ReNiC go way back, and so we're gonna basically talk a little bit about how he got into fighting games. We're obviously gonna talk about, I guess, what could be considered the golden age of American Third Strike, right? That early
Yeah.
2000 area, I guess. We'll talk a little bit about that. Hopefully,
Right.
Ty has some stories that he can share.
Well, there's plenty of
Yeah.
stories from back then,
I
man.
also wanted to kind of touch on that the 3SO period, because for those of you who don't remember, ReNiC was really active when 3SO came out in terms of putting out Third Strike primers and beginning videos to try and really get more people into Third Strike. And then we all know where that kind of went. So I definitely want to get your input, Ty, on what happened there. And then obviously
Okay.
we'll talk about what's going on with you now. So I guess let's go ahead and get the show
Okay.
started.
Yeah.
So Ty, let's start at the beginning, man. So you grew up where?
So I grew up in Southern California, specifically Simi
Hmm.
Valley, which is like 15 minutes away from Family Fun.
And so how did
Yeah.
you get into video games in general?
So, well, I mean, video
Yeah.
games in general. I mean, back, I don't know, my first like hard game that I really like de- went hours and hours and hours in when I actually was like, not just a young kid. Like, well, I mean, I was still young. I was like, end of middle school, early high school. It was
Okay.
Diablo 2. I just played so much Diablo 2. I didn't know what I was doing, but I liked it. So that's what like got me into like, oh yeah, like really grinding
Hmm.
it out. And then I moved, and across the street from my apartment was Brunswick, which is a
Hmm.
bowling alley, and they had Third
Hmm.
Strike. And my friend Rob was like, "Hey, let's play Street Fighter." And we played Street Fighter, and then I mean, literally, it was that was it. Like, I put my coin in, and it was done. Like, I think my first character was Chun Li, and then like you can you can obviously tell that that was like the complete opposite character of what I eventually went for.
Yeah.
But yeah, for, like Chun Li and Makoto and stuff like
So did
that.
who did Rob use?
Yeah,
Do you remember? Chun Li.
Chun Li.
Okay.
Or well, no, he first was like, yeah, Ryu, yeah, and like Ryu, and then like
Uh-huh.
Alex, and then Chun Li for the rest of the room.
Dude, I
Remainder.
swear, I don't think I've ever seen Rob. We're talking about Rob Greco, by the way. Rob Greco, right? We're talking about Rob Greco was a old school Chun Li player back in the Family Fun days. Uh,
I think he's in like one Family Fun ran
yeah,
bad video. You'll see
but
him.
I don't think I've ever seen him use anyone but Chun. Like whether it's casuals or I don't
Okay.
know. You probably have, but I've never seen him use anyone other than
Yeah, I
Chun.
mean, but Rob, I don't know. I like Rob played a lot of Third Strike, but that
Yeah,
wasn't his focus though. So like it was like Chun and more
yeah.
Chun. You know what I mean? Like that, and everyone was getting
Uh-huh.
really good, like his circle of friends. So to kind of hang, he would pick Chun, which when he's on point, he
Yeah,
did
yeah.
okay. But
Yeah.
it's
All you
Chun.
gotta have is resolve to be good with Chun, right? I mean, just gotta be
Hey man,
solid.
if you can have like a 50% hit
Yeah,
confirm ratio,
50. Yeah,
you're scary.
50%, and you just gotta have like a little bit of patience. So how did you go from like
Yeah.
Brunswick? So like your story is really not all that atypical from a lot of SoCal players. A lot of them basically
Mhm.
discovered fighting games. Not really an arcade, but like whether it's a bowling alley or a laundromat I think I may have played my first Street
Yeah,
Fighter in a laundromat. You
right,
know,
right. Those little
yeah. But
alcoves.
how did you go from like playing at Brunswick to playing like at an arcade, and then obviously eventually playing
Dude,
competitively?
well, dude, like, so, the first few weeks or whatever, I was just playing Third Strike because it was, like, really fun. It was really cool, felt cool, it had cool characters. And then this guy named Joel Tate, which was, like, kind of like one of those, like, big fish in a small pond, like those people that don't compete out in other tournaments or anything like that. But he knew how to parry stuff, and he was really like stuff that I have never even seen in the game yet or anything like that. And he like parried a hurricane kick, and my fucking brain exploded. I was just like, this is the sickest thing ever. So tried to find ways to go to, and there was like Power Zone and like other like local arcades, not quite as far as Family. And Frankie 3S was there, and I would just dump like $10 of quarters against that guy in the beginning, and I never forget it. He something that just like made me want to like play the game, like, oh, thank you, play the game just nonstop. Was I was playing Frankie 3S, and I randomly like was watching two like pretty good players. Oh, it was Vic's girlfriend. Oh god, I forget her name, but
Mayuko.
she was pretty damn good.
Mayuko.
Yeah, Mayuko. Yeah, she was pretty damn good for that era,
Hmm.
for that early, and she was playing Chun, and it was against Frankie, and Frankie had no life. She went for the chip. This is super early, way before the Evo Moment
Hmm.
37 or whatever. This was a long, years before.
Hmm.
And Frankie started parrying it, and then as he was parrying it, he looked over at me and was like, "Sup," and then did the full punish
Uh-huh.
and killed her. And I was just like, "This, that's godlike. This is amazing. Like, I want to do stuff like that." And like, so I mean, once that happened, I was just like, "Okay, I'm going to Family. I'm going anywhere there's a Third Strike tournament that like me without a like, is still in like early high school or something like that, without a like any resources, anything I can get to, I'm gonna play." So that's kind of what started it.
And so when you first saw Frankie play, that was at Power Zone. Is that the place you saw him first play?
Yeah, Power Zone. Yep, Power
And
Zone.
so interestingly enough, wow, I can't believe that when you first saw Frankie play, you saw him play Mayuko. Because I have a pretty interesting Mayuko story. Um, yeah,
Really?
uh she was my first partner in the first ever team tournament that I played at Family. It was a super long time ago.
Oh,
It's when I first started picking up Necro. Like when I first went to Family, I was just a
dude, I think I
yeah.
remember that. I think I
I was
remember
just,
that.
when I
Yeah.
first came to Family, I was just this like really scrubby Ken player. But then I started to like pick up Necro, and then I remember my first team tournament. It was me and Mayuko, and we actually got second. We were in grand finals against Pyro and Five Star.
Okay. Was it
No, it was her Chun.
Hirobuki?
She was using Chun. Yeah,
Oh,
but
okay.
but but yeah, she did use Ibuki, dude. I mean, okay, I don't know. Maybe this is where we start offending people, but Mayuko was fucking good, man. I
Dude,
have
at
not
that,
met a
like I
female
said,
player that I think is better than
oh,
her.
she's definitely the best female Third Strike player I've ever
Fuck
played.
Dirt Strike, man. A Street
I,
Fighter player. Who's better?
mm, oh
Come
yeah,
on now.
yeah. This is dangerous, dude. This is dangerous. This is dangerous. I,
Because Mayuko, she played Counter
um,
Strike. That was her real game, right? I think.
no, I
I mean, she was
remember.
fucking good, man. Damn. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, anyway, whatever.
Well, her training partner was
Yeah,
Vic.
that's true.
I mean, Vic. For a long time, me and Yi thought he was hands down the most Japanese like ready player uh, for years. Like that guy's, he was just godlike. I wish the people saw
Hmm.
more of him because he didn't really like go anywhere or do anything but other than play us. But
Yeah.
yeah, lost to that guy many times in the
Like,
beginning.
No homo, but do you remember Vic's hands? His fingers? They were
Yeah, they're
fucking
super
huge. They were
long,
like
dude.
Michael Jordan hands, dude.
Super long.
So like he could do whatever he
Dude, they
wanted.
were super long. It's not fair. It was not fair. Like when I first saw that, I was like, dude, no wonder he's doing all these crazy deadly combos, man. He's like back here and the stick's like 2 feet away, and he's like, what?
And I always liked how nonchalant he was about everything. Like, just like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
He was so dope though. He was so cool.
what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, remember he was one of the few Family Fun players that actually had a Japanese cab in his house.
Yes, he had it in his
Dude, I
house.
don't know if I remember. I could have sworn I may have been to his house once. I don't remember, but I know he had one. I know he had one.
Yeah, I've played on that like twice. I've only been there like a few times, but yeah, it was
So,
sick.
you saw Frankie and Mayuko play at Power Zone. So, tell us about your. I don't know if you remember it. I mean, fuck it, I don't remember my first tournament. But do you remember your first third strike tournament? All
Oh,
right, all
oh
right.
yeah, I do, dude. It was at
Hmm.
Family Fun, and the the big dogs back then were
Yeah,
Geo. Do you
man,
remember
Geo.
Geo? Geo. And like um, God, I don't know who was like the one he was like contending against. I think it was mainly Geo dominating,
Yeah.
winning most of them back then. But it was my first tournament. And I was playing with Alex for maybe like 2 weeks. So first round I went against Gio, the guy that won the tournament, and guess what he did? He picked Alex against me.
Wait, wait, wait. Who are you using? So he did an Alex
Alex.
mirror against you.
So he went out of his way to pick Alex against me because I was like some
Uh-huh.
scrub. And he was just doing zany shit that because I was so bad in the beginning, I didn't know how to deal with like Alex's dive and like stomp loops and like
Yeah.
I wasn't like versed at third strike at that point. I couldn't parry on command or anything like that. So he just like humiliated me with with my own character. So it wasn't like a friendly like, oh yeah, you did great. It was really close. Like you did so good for
Uh-huh.
your first term. It was just a total just like get the fuck out of here, scrub. This is family fun.
Wow.
So yeah, that was the first one.
So, for those of you who don't know, Geo is probably, man, first gen SoCal third strike player, and
Right.
ironically enough, he's really most known for using Yang, right? Like that was like a character that he
Oh yeah.
used, and then like after Geo stopped playing, for some reason nobody like I remember for the longest time SoCal didn't really have a really like top Yang player. Like it had to come
Not at
from
all.
NorCal, right, with Rom, but and he came in really really late. But
He came
why
in
do you think
late.
that
Yeah.
was? I mean, I've always been curious. I wonder why when Geo stopped, just people stopped using Yang in the West Coast.
Yang's hard, dude. Yang's not like he's well. It's not like he's insanely hard to play, but he's hard to
Hmm.
win with to a lesser extent. Um, or because he doesn't have the just like, well, he's like,
Hmm.
young, I'm gonna activate, and even if I don't get like a full combo, I'm still
Yeah.
gonna get free damage regardless. Doesn't have a lot of threat factor. A lot of his like go-to moves, like low forward slash, the slash is one random parry, and like he's forced to do that. So if I block one of those and I can parry, or I mean, that's like I destroy Yangs. Like I've never lost to Yang to Rom in a tournament. Like I'm Yang to me is nowhere near as scary as
Hmm.
Young. So the stuff he's forced to do to approach you, I think, is a little more dangerous if the other person gets a read or can red parry or parry something. You're going to take half his life, and he has to take more risks, I
Oh no,
think,
yo,
than
no,
Young.
definitely.
And that's why people didn't play him, dude. Like, why when I could just pick Yun and just run away and then
Hmm. Oh
activate?
no, there's obviously different ways to play characters. One of the things that I noticed when I went to
Mm-hmm.
Japan, in this past January, is just the different styles of Yangs. Like for example, KO, right? Like he's just he just plays like a nut. It's basically spin the wheel when you play KO. He just makes he's just in that ass all the time, and
Right.
it's basically
Relentless.
just just options on a wheel, and he just kind of goes through them, and he just kind of makes you react, and that's basically how he wins his matches. Then you have more methodical Yangs, and I think those Yangs are a lot less dangerous, than
Oh yeah, they're just waiting
yeah.
for me to open them up. You know, like those ones
Yeah.
aren't scary. The ones that are insane, that do a good job of rotating through their wheel of options, because Yang does have a lot of
Mm-hmm.
good options. You know, it's just not as oppressive as when you're activated in Jin or something
So
like
right
that.
now I'm showing a little bit of footage courtesy of BKD True Tech's YouTube channel. This is
That's karate
this is like a
YouTube,
from
yeah.
2003. This is FFA versus Texas, and this is Geo. I think he
Mm-hmm.
OCV Texas here. I'm not sure. Um, but here's a
Asian Hitler. I
yeah.
remember this. Oh my God.
But
Yeah,
Geo was so ahead of his time when you look at it. It's
Geo,
so weird, dude.
he was ahead of his time. Yeah. I mean, if he was to play us now, he'd probably get mopped. But I mean, at that
Yeah,
point, he was
yeah.
way ahead
I
of
mean,
his
he just
time.
kind of understands how Yang was supposed to play.
Right.
And it was funny because
Hmm.
I did the same thing with Haas, old school Austin player. We watched fucking we watched like the first American Third Strike tournament ever. It was like the grand finals
Oh
was like
God. Yeah.
Shen Chang taking on Valle, and we saw Valle like red pairing and shit. Like, and the game isn't even like 6 months old. It's so weird like watching these old like videos. It's
Right.
funny
Right.
because you could probably use gimmicks here that would work now because they're so fucking old. Like no one's seen them before.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
but look
Yeah.
at Gio's reaction. Did you see him
I mean,
block that overhead? What the fuck?
yeah. He's. I mean, like I
Yeah,
said, he was. Regardless of his third strike knowledge, he was just in general a
yeah,
good fighting game guy.
yeah,
So.
definitely. So shout outs to Gio. I don't really know. I don't really exactly know where he is now. But
I have
if
no
there's
idea,
a if
man.
there's ever if someone's ever gonna start a Third Strike Hall of Fame, it would be a travesty if he wasn't one of the first people to be entered in that because he really
Yeah,
did.
as far as Family Fun's concerned, that was like the first like main
Yeah.
boss. Hmm.
So
He was the first final
So tell us
boss.
a little bit more about family, because that's kind of where you played the most, right? So like, how did how was how did that come about in terms of starting to go to family? Did everyone just kind of migrate from Power Zone to family, or what happened there?
Well, I mean, like family is where the
Hmm.
tournaments happened, you know. So, and family was where you wanted to go if you wanted to play the better
Hmm.
competition. Um, uh, so you had a higher chance to play like more people and just in general better people, and you would go to family if you went to family. So I mean, really, it just went. The biggest factor is that the arcades started closing down, and family was the last one
Hmm.
that kept going. I mean, Power Zone hit the dust. Another one that had Third Strike interface hit the dust. So for a few years, it was just Family Fun that was
Hmm.
near me, and that's where I would go. And then Denjin opened up way later in the era. So
So let's talk a little bit more about the competition at family. So who were like while you were during that sort of peak period, right, that golden age, and I'm talking about like early 2000s to around I guess 2006. Well, I think that's a
mhm.
good kind of I think that's a good sort of parameters we can set. um Obviously you were going to family fun tournaments regularly. You were grinding it out with the top family fun players, Pyro, Yi, Vic, and so forth and so on. What was your motivation for getting better during those times?
Yeah, I mean, dude, I just
Hmm.
love the game. I don't know, life was shitty, and and Third Strike was something I
Uh-huh.
really loved. So it was just like that was my like go-to about progressing in something, and at the same time, it was like It would induce salt, but at the same time, it was stress. It relieves stress. Doing something new in the game, or
Mhm.
improving, or progressing, or beating somebody. Um, that was really good. Like, it was therapeutic. You saw yourself progressing and stuff like that. I remember the first time I beat Yi, I was just like, oh yeah, I know I'm leveling up. It, like, when I beat Yi the first time, I was like, I like felt it. I was like, okay, I know for sure I've leveled up a
Mhm.
lot. You know what I mean? It was funny too. He crossed me over with the jumping medium punch, jumping medium kick, and he did it immediate standing strong with Ken, and I red parried it, and I just kneed into Alex Super, and then normally anytime Yi has lost before that, as an outsider, because I didn't really talk
Mhm.
to them a lot at that point, he was just like fucking scrub and like you don't know whatever, but he got off the cabinet and said, and
Uh-huh.
then walked out. I'm like, oh yeah. So like, I was like, okay, so even he recognized that I was improving, I was putting in the work.
I mean, I guess that's something that I was talking to. I sort of talked to about with Yaz in the last episode, French third strike player, and he referred to sort of this thing called the culture of the coin. There's really like nothing really replaces that feeling, right? Like when you go to the arcade
I
and you
love
just
it.
kind
Yeah.
of you earn, even if it's just a modicum of respect, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's because you won, right? And you kind of earned it,
Right.
and it's there nothing really replaces that feeling.
I really miss putting up the
Hmm.
quarter, dude. Like, this is my spot in line. This is like my little like piece in the game right now. Like, this is what I'm betting on
Yeah, it's an
myself.
investment, right?
Taking quarters from people, man. Like, that used to be what it was. Like, when you had like a 25 game win streak, it's just like you just count the money that you took.
And so, um, were there any who were some of the favorite who were some of your favorite players to play during during the family fun days?
Like,
Yeah,
play against,
play
or
against.
oh, I just, dude, I like, cause I'm like in casual, like I don't win. I never win. Like in tournament, I'm very good at like
Uh-huh.
focusing and adapting myself. But in casuals, I never won. So I always liked playing just either Pyro he had to be the hardest person for me to
Uh-huh.
play against. His Yun at least. Pyro and Yi, they didn't give me any slack ever. They were never like, casually playing me. You know what I mean? They were always just like, we're gonna make this kid quit third strike
Mhm.
kind of thing. Like, so that I always just picked, whoever was just the hardest person to play against or beat. That was what was the most fun for me. It just depends on the person. I loved playing against Kenai, but it, Kenai has a horrible, horrible track record against me. Like, I think I'm like the sole reason why that guy has not won many tournaments because he just, I guess I'm like his demon or something. I don't
That's
know.
funny. Dude, Kenai was my demon. Like Necro Makoto was pretty rough
Yeah.
to begin with,
Oh, well, that's horrible for
but
Necro.
like
Yeah.
it just sucked cuz like I would get really really close sometimes and then he would just snatch it away, right? With that Karks
Yeah.
it's just
Well, Kenai was a squirrely guy, man. Like, he was a little
yeah, he
trickster.
was. But the character fit him cuz the more unpredictable the Makoto is, right? Sometimes the more dangerous. Actually, yeah, it really is the more
Hmm.
dangerous it is. Was there
Yeah. Hey, if he can read you twice right when he's got meter, you're in for some trouble.
So, how about players that you just hated playing against? Like, were there people that you just couldn't stand to play against?
Oh yeah, you. No, it was in your case it was just
uh,
the matchup. Like, because I wasn't at that point where, like, because after you left I got a bajillion times
mhm.
better. But when I was at the point where I got to play against you when you played Necro, I was like, I can't parry all this to get in. Like, how do I, like, I just Necro was tough for me at that point. But as far as like just, oh, I hate that scum. Well, I don't want to play this guy ever again. um, God, it's funny because there was a lot of them, and not a lot of them. Oh, do you remember
Yeah, man,
Shadini?
that Chun player, dude. He
Oh
was
my
so lame,
God,
right?
hated playing him. The lamest player on
Dude,
earth, and on top of that, he
he would
played
make you
Chun.
earn
And
everything, work for everything. He's just so lame.
oh yeah, you had to do because he would never like
Yeah.
really approach you. You had to do some like godlike maneuvering and
Uh huh.
parries to get in on him in the first place. And because I wasn't like at the top of my game at that point, like it was just Alex versus Chun, and this guy was like, I think at that point he was like the best Chun. Like he was constantly like third, second place
Yeah, he
for a
was
little bit.
making those top eights pretty consistently. You know,
Mm-hmm.
any other players besides Shadini?
There's just
Yeah,
random guys like me and you used to call this guy Bluetooth headset
dude,
guy.
I remember
Just
that guy
this
now. Damn.
just a super scrubby deadly player that would you could beat this guy like 15 times in a row. He'd scrub one win out from like 18 wake up supers, or like he would like super and you would block it
Hmm.
with deadly, and then like you miss your timing a little bit, and then he would just super right again immediately and like win off of that, and he'd be like, hey, yeah. So that guy was beyond infuriating. Even though you beat him 1,000 times, you scrub one, because it's not even about like if they win, if they beat or lose against you. It's how they like perceive it, or like how
Uh,
they act. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, you this guy loses 15 times, wins once, and then he's like, yeah, I own you. I fucking own you. It's like, come on,
Yeah.
bro. Um, Another tough one was, oh, do you remember? Fuck, I don't remember his name. You remember J.R.
Yeah.
Rodriguez, right? So back when I played him a few times, I was still not that great. So hard kick, hurricane kick from Akuma was hard for
Uh,
me to deal with. So I did not like that to play against him. And then what was his buddy? He played Hugo and Alex.
Rodolfo or Adolfo?
I don't know if it was
Adolfo.
Adolfo. Yeah. Back when he was at the top of my game and I was still like a budding
Uh,
third strike player. Yeah, he would spank me pretty bad too with some zany stuff. So
yeah.
I learned a lot from him, but I didn't like playing him because it was always just like, what the fuck is
Yeah.
going on?
Going back to like cause when I left, like thinking back on the way I was playing, like it wouldn't be until like a
Hmm.
couple years later that I started, like in my mind, playing Necro the right way. Like it was
Right.
just, and so I could see why it would be so frustrating to you, cause like I'm just on super autopilot, and it's like I'm totally putting myself in these unsafe situations, and you're having trouble
Hmm.
parrying it, and so you totally feel like the wins are unearned. So like looking back on it now, it's like yeah, and that's weird, right? Just
It was just frustrating because sometimes you were like, "Oh, short super." I'm like, that wasn't confirmed or nothing. That was just a
but hey,
fucking,
I learned now you
If,
can DED it. So
well, of course, yes,
actually,
yeah.
Necro
So
can DED. I'm gonna put out a video very soon, but he does.
everyone can
You know
D.
what's up?
I mean, to some
Yeah.
extent, but yeah.
So, but it's funny though, cause I'm trying to remember some of the things I remember about your Alex. One of the things I noticed, and I don't know if you just did this against me, but I noticed that you didn't really. Whenever I played you, you never quick rise. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
is that something that you did just against Necro, or was that something that you did against certain characters?
No, I didn't quick rise a lot, actually, and it's because Alex's quick rise is
Hmm.
really quick. So a lot of times, if depends on the matchup, but a lot of times, and this may have been a bit bad habit, but I liked people coming up and
Hmm.
closing the distance and getting right next to me, doing the work for me if they got like a random knockdown, because I would like to play blow for blow. Alex is going to win
Hmm.
on that. So back then, I wouldn't quick rise all the time. And then when I would do it, I was up so early that I would actually like power bomb you on wake up
Hmm.
or something like that. Um, and I'm sure there's some videos out there in tournament when I'm doing it, but I just like mixing it up sometimes. I mean, if I played now, I'd probably just out of pure habit just quick rise every time. But
Yeah, it's interesting too because I've played a lot of different Alexes, and I don't think it's weird. Like I don't think I've played any Alex that plays the same way. You know, it's
yeah, I think that's partly
yeah,
Third Strike. Third Strike's that good of a
yeah,
game where uh, you can actually tell by just looking at how somebody plays a character who that probably is. Like it has a lot of allowance for different variants and character play.
yeah.
So it's part of why the
Yeah,
game.
that that was actually I kind of wanted to touch on that, probably later in the podcast. But I know recently there's been some top SF5 players who are complaining about that very issue, right? Like to win with a character, everyone has to play it like the same way or a certain way, and that's how the game is designed. Unlike Third Strike, you know, and I think I saw that really well at the pre-co-op cup, you know.
Oh hell
Um,
yeah!
we actually Team New York. We actually got on stream for a little bit, but they showed our match against an Ibuki team that wasn't that great, to be honest. And I wish they should have. I wish they had aired the match against this Alex team. That was. Yeah,
Did
we
you guys
won.
win or I didn't see that
Yeah,
part?
we won.
Uh, Wait, what is
Oh,
your?
oh,
Let me.
Team New York.
What
Team New
Alex
York was
players?
well, basically we kind of bucked tradition, and Team New York decided that we would stick together and we would all just play Ken. So I think we went up against let me go ahead and look up the list. But basically we went up against a team of all Alex players. It didn't have Genki on it, but it had Sakura though. Sakura.
Hmm.
I'm trying to see the team list right here.
What was your
We
team?
were just all Ken players. It was me, Nika KO, Frankie 3S, East Coast Edition, Gavin, and Hold That.
Yeah, you better say East Coast Edition.
So let me figure out. We Yeah, we beat this team right here. That team. I don't know if you can see it on the. I don't want to subscribe. Fuck that.
Oh, you. Oh, come on, man. Okay.
Uh, yeah, this team.
Oh, Kazuya.
We
Yeah.
beat this team. I'm not sure because Gavin took out the first three Alexes. I know for sure I played Sakurada. I don't know who else I played, but I played the last two Alex.
Did
Yeah,
you
we
beat
beat
him?
them. So,
Man,
but I don't know who I played. It might have been Kazuya. I'm not really sure. Who uses the same color as Genki on that team? Do you know? All right.
I don't
Well,
know. Mm-mm.
one of the Alex players, like I was just kind of testing his reactions. Dude, they're so good. Like I can't
Yeah.
dash in at any of them. Crouch strong, crouch strong. Like just it's almost like
Right.
they're it's just anyway. But yeah, at pre co-op cup you kind of see that, right? Like everyone can use the same character, but but people's personalities sort of come out. And so
Yeah, a lot of available area for your variants. Like it.
mhm. and so before we go to break, I just wanted you to see if you can tell me what do you think was your most memorable win during that period, that golden age of SoCal Third Strike? Like, what's the win that kind of you always sort of keep close to your heart? Like that you're most proud of.
Mm,
I mean, it doesn't have to be at a family tournament. It could have been somewhere else, or
yeah, I don't know.
it
Like,
doesn't have to be one. Maybe if you remember a few of them.
yeah, I mean the the. I mean, I don't even remember who I played or what it was, but it was the very first uh, Family Fun Ranbat that was actually recorded and put out, and that's where like Two Boots
Hmm.
came from, and like all the like Alex like terms from all that Das Boot and all that stuff. When Sanchez was on the mic,
I think it's
or was it? No, it
Rockefeller.
wasn't Sanchez. It was
Yeah.
Rockefeller. Um, I think that one, and then the other one when Sanchez was on the mic, and then that one was like the other one that was actually streamed and not like lost in the ether somewhere, where like the other Alex terminology came through, like eat
Uh-huh.
dirt and all that other stuff. So those two are like my favorite ones, just because there's so much like memorable like little tidbits that came
Mhm.
out of it.
And so, before we go on break, one last question. Um, if someone came up to you and said, ReNiC, I want to learn Third Strike and I want to pick up Alex, you would say what?
Mhm.
What would you say?
Well, normally I would say, hey, I did a bunch of tutorials for
Uh-huh.
different characters. Go check them out, whichever character it is. Never did an Alex one though, so he's SOL there. But I don't know. People have come up to me and be like, "Dude, you're the reason I play Alex," and I'm like, "I'm very sorry. Like, I'm sorry for all the pain you're
Uh-huh.
about to be in the future of Third Strike." But I would just say, my general like philosophy about it all is like, hey man, just you know, have good
Mhm.
defense, like really work on defense, and learn how to read your
Mhm.
opponent. And that's really that's Alex. You know what I mean? Just be solid on defense because you're gonna have to
Mhm.
block a lot in certain matchups where you don't have all the perfect tools to counter a lot of stuff. So you counter that with great defense, and then when you get better, you can start parrying in those difficult situations and even red parrying, and that's when Alex gets
Mhm.
really scary. So yeah, I would just give him the advice of good defense and try to like develop your skill about actually reading a person in game.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's like, yeah, I think that's pretty in line with what the Japanese Urian player RKF once mentioned in multiple streams, where he said that Alex is a really good beginner character for someone getting into Third Strike
Oh yeah, no,
because he forces you to like
Alex,
learn the game the right way.
you're totally right. Ed Ma, back this was
Hmm.
back then also when Ed played. Ed is like, I was talking to Ed, and he's like, "Oh man, Alex is super easy, like super easy." And I kind of took offense, like, "Dude, he's got horrible matches." He's like, "No, no, no, no. He's super easy. He's super easy to play, hard to
Hmm.
win with." So I'm like, so that makes sense about what you just said is that he's a easy character to play and like just learn how to play Alex. But when you want to start to win, you have to start to
Hmm.
develop what you were just talking about. Force yourself to be able to do certain things to keep
Yeah,
going.
and in terms of winning, that all depends on the format, right? Because I mean, in America, we always play 2 out of 3, 3 out of 5. I mean,
Yeah,
those are basically mini gotcha, mini sets, right? But then you go to Japan, one
right.
game,
Yeah,
Alex is fucking scary, man.
right. Yeah, and I think I hated one game
Hmm.
elimination um, for a while, and then I got to the point where it was like kind of at the peak of my skill, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna. By the time this
Hmm.
round is over, like you're gonna have trouble adapting to two
Hmm.
sets by the garbage I'm doing. Like one match is gonna be tough. So I think Alex, thrived a little better in some situations. I like longer sets in general though.
Cool,
So
cool. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and take our first break. But when we come back, Ty, I want to talk a little bit about the 3SO, the 3SO years, kind of when it came out, because
mhm.
you were pretty active when it first came out, and I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts
Right.
on, what happened with 3SO and you know how you see the legacy. Like, what should the legacy of Third Strike Online be? So,
Right.
for those of you who are just
Hmm.
joining us, my special guest tonight is ReNiC, and we're going to take a quick break. And after a couple minutes, we'll be back with some more Mutant Experience podcasts. So, stay tuned, guys. All right, guys. Welcome back to the Mutant XPerience podcast, season finale, episode 10. Tonight, my special guest is ReNiC, originally from SoCal, now living in Arizona, right? Um, and
Yeah.
so, Ty, I wanted to go ahead and fast forward a little bit and talk about Third Strike Online. So, you know, most people who play Third Strike now, or who are first introduced to Third Strike, are either introduced through Fightcade, which is obviously the successor of GGPO, and
Right.
every time I think of GGPO, I always just think about your video, your GGPO video. I don't know how that video does not have at least 1 million hits. Everyone watch the ReNiC GGPO video.
Yeah.
I think you have two versions of it, don't you, on your channel? It was weird. Like, why are you splitting views?
Well, yeah, I had the one version, and then I didn't really do anything with that channel for a while, and so it's
Yeah.
not the same
Okay.
version's on another channel.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's all.
So yeah. So new players, they're either introduced to Third Strike through Fightcade or Third Strike Online. And
Mhm.
so, Third Strike Online obviously came out around 2011, and you had already moved from SoCal, you know, and you had already been living in Arizona. Correct me if I'm wrong. Um,
So yeah, so I was in Arizona for
mm,
a year or so, I think. Um, and yeah, I remember I was in Arizona. I actually got a code like I don't know, a few hours early, and I was playing online. But yeah, I wasn't on Arizona. Yeah.
so, what exactly was your role in terms of developing Third Strike Online? Did they ask you to play it, or they asked you to test it, or
Oh, they didn't
okay?
ask me anything. No, they didn't. They didn't
I
help
didn't
me
know if
with
you were one of the
nothing.
testers or
Or
whatever.
no. Again, Capcom being Capcom, and just for some reason, yeah. Let's just leave it at
So
that.
Third Strike Online comes out, and I mean, what was your? Can you tell us a little bit about what you were thinking or feeling when the announcement came out? I mean, were you excited? Were you skeptical? I mean, what was?
Well, I
Yeah.
was excited at first because, like a dumbass, I'm like, oh, Capcom says this. That means that's what it's gonna be. Um, and of course, it wasn't. Um, the online portion was, pretty
Uh-huh.
damn bad. But to be honest, I think it's best console
Mhm.
release. Like, I uh, I played a lot of local, like in person Third
Mhm.
Strike Online edition. Not online. Online was
Mhm.
really bad, but I actually played a lot of it. Not in Arizona. I actually moved back to
Okay.
California
Mhm.
for a while. Shortly after it came
And that's
out.
when you did
So
a lot of the Third Strike Junkie podcasts, and you started. I think you did some things, some streams of Gutex, right? I think when it first came out.
so yeah, I mean, so at the end of Third Strike Online came out. I was still in Arizona. I did the running sets and Third Strike Revival series with Gutex on
Mhm.
Cross Counter. And that got like more views than like the Street Fighter 4 videos at the time. It's like, they got like 60 something, 70. Like, it was amazing to me. Like, Third Strike got that many views. And then shortly after that, I moved back to California um, for a few years. And then that was like the Denjin era. You remember, did you know about Denjin at
Yeah.
all?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So that was the Denjin
and
era.
so in terms of Third Strike Online, I mean, uh, what was your kind of your thinking and the community's thinking in terms of because I know you put out a whole bunch of primers, obviously trying to attract new players, you seem to have a certain amount of faith in this product, right? For you to put on.
Well, yeah. Third Strike Online Edition is actually probably the best console
Hmm.
port. And I played a lot of it on, and it was to me it was close enough to still have enjoyment of the game. And I was like, I'm an arcade like purist. Like I really, I am like you can put me on a console and I can play games okay, but like I'm a whole different like
Yeah.
beast in the arcade. Like in the arcade, like I swear to God, I level
Hmm.
up. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I had faith in it in the sense of it's definitely good enough for people, especially if they haven't played in
Hmm.
the arcade,
And so why do you
which
and
is
so why do you think Third Strike tournaments kind of, I guess for a lack of a better term, kind of died like around, I guess, 2012, 13. I mean, obviously Denjin closed, which was a big blow.
Dungeon eventually
That was
closed.
a big
Yeah,
blow. I mean, really, the last big event was what, Sunroof Cup when MOV went over, and that
yeah,
was in 2009, right?
yeah,
2009, 2010, and so
yeah. God, so much, dude. There's so much to talk about in this just like little
yeah.
pocket of the end. Like,
Like, do you know why
oh
Denjin
man,
closed exactly? I mean, obviously financial issues, but I mean, like, like, are you able to sort of talk about that in terms of exactly what happened those last days in Denjin, or
uh,
putting you on the spot here, Ty? No.
no, I can't. I
Okay.
shouldn't
Okay.
say anything. But I mean, you can basically financial stuff. But okay, so when I moved back to California, and I lived at a place called the
Mhm.
Lodge, and it was a mad
Uh-huh.
party house, and basically all I would do is party and
Mhm.
play Third Strike, and people and basically like other than Denjin, because you couldn't just go to Denjin on like a random day and have people
Yeah.
play. You know what I mean? It had to be kind of like an event. So people would normally come to my place. So like Nice Guy Mark, I don't know if you've ever played Nice Guy Mark, Kazi. Uh, I don't know if you ever played Kazmaier either. These are not newer players, but they didn't like really get into like the
Mhm.
golden era like as heavily or at all. I don't know. And then just like randomly like Pyro would come by sometimes. Do you know who Red Venom is? James
I
Durnak,
mean, I know he's an Oro
oral
player.
player.
I don't know if I ever played him.
The dirtiest, scummiest, lamiest player on earth. But honestly, one of the better uh, players, one of the better Third Strike players. But obviously, he wasn't
So the
there
lodge was
until
your house, was your
later.
apartment.
Well, no, it was a big five
Okay.
bedroom house in California, and we had a bunch of no other gamers other than me. So just always like wild parties, and then like if you took a certain like hallway down a certain room, it would either be like drugs and drinking or drugs, drinking, and
Oh,
Third
okay.
Strike.
All right. All
so
right.
so but so basically, yeah, like that was an era. And then what's funny is like Third Strike Online, it actually made me pretty damn good because I had such access to Third Strike, at any time, and I had some pretty. My friends were pretty good at the time. They were unfortunately Urian players, so I don't lose the Urians ever, ever, ever now. But Urian, and they played a few other characters. But I started doing stuff like punishing tackle before it even I blocked it with like Dudley Super and or Ken Super or like, dude, I'll even like show you a video of like stuff I was starting to be able to do because I was playing so much, and it just so yeah, on the way for the tackles to come to me before I even blocked it, I would like literally punish it with a super before I even had to block it. So I was just doing zany stuff like that and parrying out of unblockables and oral unblockables, and just I got like to a point where because I was and for a while all I did was play fighting
Mhm.
games as a living, because that was at the end of that
Era there.
time is when I like you know Street Fighter cross Tekken and was on the cross assault
Mhm.
stuff and did YouTube stuff and shows and stuff. So for a while, I really didn't do anything other than play fighting games. It's not like I was living large, but I was really happy. It was probably the one of the happiest times of my life, even though I was pretty damn poor. But yeah, so that was happening, and then Dungeon was right there. You had Sunroad Cup, and then they had tournaments every so often there, and those tournaments, it was only maybe like 15 people a tournament, but everybody was fucking like, there wasn't a noob. There was
Mm,
never a noob. You know what I mean? Everyone knew how to play. So it was always a cutthroat
mm.
tournament.
And so, obviously, Denjin closes, and then around what year did you move back to Arizona,
Oh, God, dude, I don't even remember.
roughly?
I moved everywhere times. I think I moved back to
The last time.
Arizona maybe three,
Okay.
4 years ago,
Yeah,
maybe.
that sounds about right.
Mhm.
So 2013, 13ish, and so
Mhm.
so you left, and then obviously the players that you mentioned, they're basically the boiler room players. Like that's what everyone knows them as now.
Right,
That's cool. That's cool.
right. The
And
boardroom.
so you moved to Arizona. I mean, what did you try? Did you ever think of trying? Hey, maybe there are people here that want to play Third Strike, or was that just something that you just,
So,
you know?
okay, so Air, California ended on a pretty bad note. Like everyone was moving
Hmm.
out of the house. Um, Denver was closed. FFA was closed, or like pretty much dead. And I didn't, and because I had stopped, like I was on the tail end of me traveling and playing fighting games and going everywhere and doing YouTube stuff. I didn't have the job at the moment. Everyone was leaving the house. Couldn't really find like a place to move to with other people because you can't, like at that time I couldn't afford a place by myself in California. Like that place it's just super
Hmm.
expensive. And so I was so I'm like, I have nothing here. Everything's horrible. And I moved to Arizona. And then Arizona for a while it was horrible. I hated it. Like couldn't get anything rolling. And that's when I was doing the third strike
Okay.
primers. Um, I was heavily medicated. You could probably tell in the way that I talked on the primers, where I was like,
Well, you talked really slowly, which
like
actually, lent itself
yeah,
really well.
right. I guess if you're like picking up something
Yeah.
brand new, I guess that was kind of a benefit. But yeah, I probably sounded a little odd at that time. But so yeah, I did a bunch of Third Strike primers, and there isn't really a Third Strike scene out here. There's a few Third Strike players, um, but that's not their main game, and they don't play it that much. There's like Abe 3S, or God, did he go by that? Abe, yeah, Abe, and like Rock, like Too Tall and
Hmm.
Tristan. There's like just a few, a little small, very small handful. So I didn't really like try to build the scene out here or anything
Hmm.
like that. But that's when I did the primers, and I did a lot of the cast. I did do a
No,
lot of
you
the
did. You
cast,
did.
right?
You did
I
a lot.
mean,
You had Ken. I thought your Ken one
um,
was really good. Your Urian one, your Goki one was pretty good too.
yeah, and like I said,
Saeed,
oh,
yeah.
said 3S, that's right. Yeah, said 3S. Was gonna say, so like I said, they were just
Hmm.
primers to like get the ball rolling, like so someone can jump in and be like, okay, I understand the general gameplay, I understand what their best stuff is, and I understand, their general bread and butters and what their buttons are typically used for and
Hmm.
stuff like that. And then a little of my own like tidbits and gems of stuff I picked up, and a lot of people actually that I knew were like vet and third strike players came to me like, oh, you know what? I actually learned something
Hmm.
on this character, and I played this character, so like it actually started to help more than just the brand new players. But I did a lot of the cast, and then yeah, I don't know, like people started asking for Alex with Chun Li notes, and I was just like, you guys, fuck you, like I'm out of here.
You know,
No, I basically just started doing real
Hmm.
life stuff, unfortunately, more. But yeah.
So, one of the I guess one of the challenges that a lot of people like to point to in terms of getting new players to pick up Third Strike is a lot of people
Mhm.
complain that that the skill gap is pretty wide. In terms of,
Mhm.
obviously, like you and me, right? We've been playing the game for almost 15 years or whatever, right? I mean, it's so there's
Right.
and so people like to complain or point to the fact that, it's really hard for someone new, like exactly who you're talking about, right? A new player to get in. I mean,
Oh yeah.
what
Uh-huh.
aside from obviously doing like beginning primers and stuff like that, I mean, have you ever thought about, what people who are interested in starting a scene would have to do to kind of, you know, address that issue? Or is it just kind of,
I mean,
is it just it's just kind of the nature of the beast, if you will, right? No pun intended.
well, no, dude. I mean, the things. So it's very simple as far as like to start a scene and to grow a scene. The things that you need to do are
Okay.
super simple. The problem is okay. So first, let me lay that out. You gotta
Okay.
hold gatherings, do stuff like this, whatever it be, content, whatever you want to do, run tournaments. You actually got to run the tournament, you got to like be the organizer pretty much. You basically just have to organize the scene, hey, the tournament's this time. Hey, if you're better than them, be open for pointers, etc., etc. Point new people to resources, whether it be the Shend or my primer or podcasts or whatever. So that's the easy part because it's just like, wait, hey, lead the horse to water, but you can't
Mhm.
make them drink. Like, you know, it's funny because back in the day, like even before fighting games, when I would play a console game, Sega or whatever, like it. I don't think I beat a lot of games, dude, back then. Like it took a long time and a lot of deaths to beat like any kind of console games. I am horrible at like video games other than like fighting games and a few like sporadic others. But you give me a console game, a new gen now, and I could probably beat it. And I'm fucking horrible. Like the attitude and like the you know what I mean? It's just like there's no instant gratification in Third
Mhm.
Strike at all. You have to like there's the instant gratification is like when you get a parry and you like hit them back and you're like you got to be okay with that milestone for a while.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like you're not going to go out you're not going to come out swinging and winning like that's if you're going to have that mentality, which a lot of people do, and that's why they make the newer games easy to win or easier on a generic level to like either win or play like Street Fighter 5 and Street Fighter 4. um, I think that's the mentality of a lot of the people that may come into a fighting game scene. Now, unfortunately, Third Strike is a man's game, and if you can't man up, then you should go play Street Fighter 4 or
Mhm.
5. So I think that's kind of what it is.
No, 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 fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, Third Strike is, Third Strike in many ways is kind of a counterintuitive fighting game, right? And I think a lot of that boils down to the parry mechanism. The fact that nothing is safe really in Third Strike.
Yeah, see, but I don't buy it because there's a shitload of safe stuff in Third Strike. And when I mean safe, I mean against
Mhm.
98% of the people, it's
Yeah, yeah,
gonna be
yeah.
safe, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I okay,
Mhm.
a blocked stomp from Alex. It's I've never had it punished in my life. I didn't even think it was punishable. And the first time I played MOV, he blocked a stomp and he
Yeah.
Ken supered it, and I was like, what? So Third Strike is a game where yeah you can make that argument, but come on, dude, you're not even playing against someone. The general people that you're gonna play against, you won't even have to worry about. You can just play your Street Fighter. You're very like one dimensional, like even years before Third Strike Street Fighter, where it's just just zoning and footsies and stuff you can't do with anything about, even though you do it over and over and over. The beauty of Third Strike is when someone is abusing something and you know they're gonna do it, you be like, no, stop that. Stop being predictable and let's make this fresh. Do something new to throw me off. You know what I mean? Um, whereas in Street Fighter Five, dude, everything is actually
Mm-hmm.
punishable. Like you're like everything is negative. Everything is negative. There's no like for Alex, everything he does is punishable. Like so other than the very top tier characters, but that's a different story. But anyway, I think the it's not a traditional fighting game. It's just fucking bullshit. Like Third Strike had better like neutral and footsies. It was different, yes, than Street Fighter Five does. But just because it's different doesn't mean it's not there. It's very
Oh
much
no,
there. I
one
think.
of the arguments I like to make is how like people like to say, oh, people like to rat on the the current players that play Third Strike. They like to say, oh well, if
Mm.
like Justin or Ricky, if they just decided to just like pick up the game again, they could body all you guys and stuff like that. Like I hear that a lot, and it's like, to me that's not a knock on the game. That actually means the
No,
game is
that actually
good.
proves their
Yeah,
point,
that means the
right?
game is good.
That proves their point that these people with godlike footsies in neutral are
Hmm.
good at the game. Not because they're amazing at parrying
Yeah.
or anything like that, because they're godlike
Hmm.
footsies in neutral. Oh my god, I thought you said this game had no any of that, So it's like, if um, when you in general, when anyone really hates on a game, like says it's like shit, like it's not, it's just because they're fucking trash. Like that's really all it is. Like it's just because they're garbage. Like, and that's really there's no real like substance to their
Hmm.
skill anyway. Like you don't, I mean, I so I don't know. The thing is, they're like, oh, well, like fireballs are like
No, that's
not
bullshit.
effective
You
or
just
blah
have to
blah
use
blah.
them a different
Dude, that
way.
is so. Have you seen Ryu's EX
Dude,
Fireball?
I'm a
Like the
necro.
best fireball ever in any
Yeah.
fighting game. Like that thing is so
Hmm.
fast. His little for a fireball feels like an actual
Hmm.
fucking like cheap
Hmm.
move. Like
Yeah.
the other thing is like when someone throws a fireball, there's the traditional things like you can block it or you can jump over
Hmm.
or whatever. But when you parry a fireball, which everyone complains about, when you parry a fireball, you are stuck in that
Yep.
place, okay? So me as the other person that throws that fireball, if it was enough distance away, you are stuck in that place. I get to play again as long as I wasn't like directly, within range of that. So if I throw a full screen fireball, and the other and person parries it, you're stuck in that place. I get to dash. I get to position. Like it's just different. It's just another level to the whole
Hmm.
overall game. Like when someone was parry happy against me, I would stick out the normal and
Hmm.
buffer super, and they would parry and automatically press something, and then their normal would get
Yeah.
eaten by the super. Like there's just an extra layer to footsies that people don't like because it's the same old story in any game. If they don't like it, it's and they bitch about it, it's because they refuse to
Hmm.
adapt basically.
Yeah. I guess that's what I was trying to get at. When I was talking about the parry. I mean, because a lot of people like to complain about the parry, but to me, I'm on board with that. The parry just makes the game. It just makes the game different. In my mind, it makes the game more complex. And that whole, oh, there's no fireball game in Third Strike, that's bullshit. Because in certain matchups, fireballs are really fucking good. Like for example, like Necro
Really good.
versus Ryu, right? Like the true
Mm-hmm.
way to play against Necro with Ryu is to just sit back and just fucking zone me out with fireballs because
Dude,
and it's so hard to
using
deal
a
with.
fireball as a normal,
Yeah.
you know, like especially Ryu's EX fireball, like that as just like an
Yeah.
extended normal, like that thing is just like, oh, you're knocked down. I'm gonna dash up onto you now. Like it existed. Yeah, it wasn't as heavy as it is in like
Hmm.
ST, but come on, this is an
Yeah.
ST. It's a different game. Adapt. Just
Yeah,
shut
that's
the
the
fuck
issue,
up.
right? Like the people who complain, oh, there's no fireball game in Third Strike. What they're really saying is that there's no that I can't shoot fireballs the way I used to be able to do in ST in Third
Right.
Strike.
I have to shoot. I have my fireball game has to be
Yeah,
different now.
exactly. And same thing with anti-airs and all that stuff. So yeah.
Right. Oh, dude, the anti-air. That dude, you can get me going on so many. The anti-air game, dude. So in my mind, it's like, okay, so you have an anti-air button, and I jump at you, and you get to do that for free every time, like at that
Hmm.
specific range. So to me, that's
Yeah.
fucking boring. Like, you know what I mean? But you can add another level to it. So I jump in, you anti-air me with down fierce. Okay, I jump in, you do down fierce again because your gameplay is one dimensional, and I
Hmm.
parry and punish you. Okay, so now you get smarter. I jump in and you down fierce. I parry that. Now you cancel into hurricane kick. Oh, I get hit by that. Like even Ken, when he does that, he can like even land an uppercut after it. So you can even potentially have a stronger anti-air game by mixing it up, and a lot of times rewarding yourself with big damage. So, dude, have you ever like jump in and try to forward parry and the guy's like low short super because you're pressing forward. Like there's ways
Yeah.
around parrying. You know what I mean? It's just not a very just like um, dumb like herper press button if you jump every time. Like you know what I mean? There's multiple ways to attack a situation, and you are forced to adapt a few times in a match. So I don't know. That's one of the cool parts about
Yeah,
Third
one of the
Strike.
things I noticed that's kind of related to your point, well, I think it's really related to your point, is another thing I noticed in Japan when I was watching high level Ken players. It's funny because high level Ken players, they would use this all the time against one another. And and it was just almost impossible to deal with. Like I never saw anyone like I almost never saw anyone block it. You know with Ken, like if you jump, I see Ken players do like a early jump roundhouse. Like they jump in and they
Yeah.
early jump roundhouse, and it's so good because like you
Mm-hmm.
can confirm it's a super. Well, but in Japan they confirm into Shoryu, and if you're close enough, they can do
Right.
Shoryu, which is just fucking cheap. And it's
Right.
funny because like these Ken
Mm-hmm.
players, I'm watching Ken mirrors, and they're doing it to each other, and they can't fucking stop it. They're just doing it to each other, and and it's clear like why
Mm-hmm.
do you get hit by that roundhouse? Like there's really like only a few reasons why you get hit by that roundhouse, and one of those reasons is what
Right.
you're looking for the parry, right? And you can
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and how do you get hit? Because your opponent's changing up the timing and stuff.
Right. Changing up the timing, dude. Like, I mean, even when like you jump in and you know that person's gonna parry. Like, okay, so you jump in and you with an attack they parry and punish you. Okay, so next time you jump in with an early attack that whiffs or not an attack at all, and like power bomb them or low short super them, or like there's so many ways to severely blow people up when they parry. It's just acquires more effort, and some people don't like to keep going on the effort, like see what I know how to do this, and that's all I want to learn how to do, and I'm gonna keep it at that. So,
And then another
um,
option is you can even avoid the situation altogether. Like for example,
oh, look at
right?
that
Yeah.
fighting
Like for
games.
example, like
Yeah,
Necro Ken, right? Like Necro Alex.
mm-hmm.
Like you know, when I first started playing with Necro, I thought, oh, I have all these godlike anti-airs. I'm just gonna let Alex jump in and on me, and then I'm just gonna, punish him all the time. And it
Mm-hmm.
worked for a while, but then I realized, letting Alex jump in is really not a good, is not really a good thing for me, because even if I
Right.
block that fierce, it's not a good situation already.
Yeah, he's finally in, and Alex is super. Like he's
Hmm.
scariest when he's just outside of his
Yeah.
car throw range. Like if he can get you in that position, then he starts to get pretty
And
scary.
so what I started doing is I started, training myself to really look at the jump, and then I just dash under, to just kind of.
Oh yeah, dude. Like that's not like dash under. Like it's
Yeah.
godlike. You don't see people do it in a lot of games, but especially like Oro. Oro's dash under for an
Yeah.
anti-air was
Chun's is
godlike.
just.
Oro,
Jesus
Chun
Christ.
too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely. That's a good point you make. Dirt Strike. Maybe Dirt Strike's just not built for that kind of instant gratification kind of thing. And I think maybe it's important
Mm-hmm.
that anyone who's interested in Third Strike, people who want to grow a scene, that they're honest with these players, right? They kind of sit them down and go, hey, okay, there's a reason why you were attracted to Third Strike. Like why were you attracted to it? What is it that you really like about the game? And then we'll go from there. Because so many people are attracted to Third Strike, and I don't know if it's for the right reasons. You know what I mean? Like, like
Mm,
think about the most famous moment in fighting game history. It's from a Third Strike game, right? And obviously, I'm talking about Evo Reloaded. You know, and
right.
so like, there's nothing wrong with wanting to play Third Strike, right? Because you saw that and it was hype.
No.
But I think
Right.
maybe what might help is telling new players like what you said, right? Like, hey, this game is not that easy to get really godlike at. But when you do get to that point, it's really gratifying.
Well, that's what I'm. Yeah, it was just an Evo, like the guy in the chat said. But um, that's like that's why like to people like me and you, like Third Strike is less uh like that's just our shit. You know what I mean? Like it's not just like oh yeah, I play Third Strike every once in a while with my homies down and or whatever. Like we fucking love the game. Like we love playing Third Strike. We get a lot of enjoyment out of it. And new people can come in and get a lot of enjoyment out of it too. But the main thing they got to realize is that you're not gonna learn your combo, and because you can do your combo 80% of the, even 100% of the time, you're not gonna win a bunch of matches in Third Strike, but like you might in like a newer game, because you're not gonna be able to even hit the combo because a player that's been playing a lot, you're gonna have trouble even touching or hitting him consistently in the way that you're used to setting up the combo. Just because there's parry, there's a there's a bajillion ways to handle situations
Hmm.
in Third Strike, and it does take time for you to get used to handling all those situations and how people are dealing with all the stuff you do. But the cool thing is that as a new player, you have a game that is super complex and deep and has a lot of different levels of um, that as you get better, you start to get to explore and do that really sick stuff. And and that's the thing is when you do something sick, like Third Strike is a game to like, obviously it's fun to win, but it's to do sick stuff. Like that's what Third Strike's about, to be fucking sick. Like, you know what I mean? That's what
Hmm.
Third Strike's about, man. Just to be sick. Like, I don't know. I mean, I remember the first time, like I was playing Hugo, and not the first time I was playing Hugo, but the first time I did this, I was playing Hugo, and this guy that was he knew how to play. He was pretty good, but I was losing, and I probably had like a throw worth of life left, and he had like half life, and I was Hugo. He was Ken. He walked up and he did standing strong, the auto combo strong into Furious, and I red parried the Furious, and I did 720
Hmm.
super, and I was just like, that. This is
Hmm.
why. This is why I play this game, because that was like it's just
Hmm.
sick, dude. Like I don't know how else to explain it. Like, and it was so sick that he looked over, really, dog, and he like left. Like, and that's just the best, dude. Like, that's what something I miss out of arcades. Like, other than when like bad times and when like Jaha tried to beat me up and stuff, like, like and just random shit like that, and like Asians. Because remember in Family Fun, like there was a lot of Asian, like it was pretty, you had like the Asian gangsters. You had a
Yeah.
few of those
Yeah.
pop in every once in a while, and they did not lose into the little high
Yeah.
school
They didn't
white
like
boy.
losing to
There's,
yeah.
yeah, and then so I don't know. I'm like rambling now,
And
but
did they like all play Ken all the
Third
time for
Strike's
some
sick.
reason? They always
Oh yeah,
all
all
of
of
them
them can
Ken,
every
right? All
time.
Ken players. It's like the Asian Ken army. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and then I remember a few times where there was a few fights, and then like a few times. I remember even one time it was Gutex. Like Ryan came up to me, he's like, Hey, just in case you guys got me, this guy said he's gonna stab me outside. And we're like, yeah, I think we're okay. We'll be okay. I think we outnumber him pretty badly, but there's just yes, Blue Ken in particular. Kazu's right. But yeah, it, I don't know how I got to that point, but those are fun
So
times.
we're gonna go ahead and take our final break, but when we come back, I want to talk to you, Ty, a little bit more about what you've been up to now in terms of current fighting games. I know we already touched a little bit on your opinions of Street Fighter V and stuff, but what some of you in the chat may not know is that ReNiC also plays Guilty Gear, and so I definitely want to
Yep.
get your thoughts on Guilty Gear. Uh, and so some of you
Mm.
might be surprised to hear what Ty thinks about that game. And so, once again, guys, you're watching the Mutant XPerience, episode 10. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back. Alright, guys. So, this is Mutant XP. Welcome back to episode 10 of the Mutant XPerience podcast. I am here with Ty, aka ReNiC, Third Strike Alex player, originally from SoCal, now living in the beautiful state of Arizona. So, ReNiC, Ty, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what you're up to in terms of modern games, but before we do that, I have a little bit of a surprise for the stream monsters and yourself. So we're gonna play a little bit of since it's the
Okay.
season finale and I'm not gonna be doing these podcasts for a while. And I thought what we might do is a little word association. So I'm gonna say a
Yeah.
phrase, might be a name, it might be a word, or it might be a sentence or whatever. And I just want you to just kind of tell me the first thing that sort of pops in your mind. All right? So you ready?
Sure.
Okay. So the
hmm
first thing that I want to mention is American sticks versus Japanese sticks.
Japanese
Japanese
sticks.
sticks, because I know you learned on American sticks, right? What was
Yeah.
what was the
hmm
what was that transition like for you? Because I know I had to make it, right? We all had to make it, because for the longest time at family we
Uh,
all played on American sticks. How did you do that
dude,
personally?
dude,
Just
it. Denjin had a
yeah.
Japanese cabinet, and only Japanese cabinets, and I was like shitty for the first day, and then after the first week, I'm like, this is beyond superior. What am I,
Yeah, right.
stupid? Like playing on American sticks? Like this is
It's like trying to
way
play Third
better.
Strike with a shovel. It's super
Right?
heavy.
Like
It's like
why?
remember back in the day. I don't know
Yeah,
if you remember this, but remember back in the day. Sometimes we would have to like spray WD-40 into the
dude.
holes of the stick to kind of just it was really retarded.
Dude, the family fun cabinets needed servicing 24/7. Like there was always something a little off about one of the
Uh-huh.
sticks, or I don't
All
know.
right, all right. So the next item is saltiest player that you've ever met,
I mean, other
other than
than
you.
me,
Saltiest player you've ever met
yeah,
ever.
there were some dark days where I was salty no matter what happened.
You were
No,
salty after wins.
oh yeah, dude, I was amped. I was amped up. I wanted everyone to lose, dude. Um, no, I think, damn, saltiest player, dude. That's so
Just
hard
you can
because,
name off
oh
some.
man, I
You
don't
can
even
name
want to
off a
say it
few. I mean,
now.
you don't have to.
Well, everyone's had like a super salt. I mean, I've seen Yi super
Mm-hmm.
salty, Eric Chin, Matt Chin. Yeah. I mean, me, I've been hella salty. I don't think I've seen a third strike player not salty at one point or another, dude. But like, I guess the saltiest had to be one of the Chin
One of
brothers,
the
I
Chin
think.
brothers. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I would vote for Matt. Yeah,
Matt
I
Chin?
think he was slightly saltier than Eric, but maybe Eric just had a better,
Yeah.
just did a better job of hiding it though, right?
Dude, it just depends because, like, I'm pretty sure my saltiest day would probably match up against some of the best, but I just remember one day I was like, "Holy shit, I'm already salty just like being around him." Like Jesus.
All right. Let's move on before we get into any more trouble. And the next word is Evo.
Disclaimer: Matt is
Yeah,
like the nicest dude ever, but like I said, Third Strike
Third
gets
Strike
people
brings the
salty.
best and the worst out of people. So the next term is Evo.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. This a word.
Evolution, Evo.
As far as Third Strike, it's just a joke. Do you remember when they did that Third Strike Invitational?
Oh, when 3SO came out?
Yeah.
Yeah, they ran it on like LCDs or something, right?
Were you invited to that? Were you
No,
invited
no,
to
no.
that? Oh, okay. Me either. Was you
No,
invited
no,
to
no,
that?
no, no, no.
No. How about
Dude,
Pyro?
I don't think so. No.
Oh no, he wasn't.
Amir was
Hmm.
there. Yeah, I
Was
think
Amir
Amir was
invited?
on that. Yeah,
Okay.
Sanchez.
That's so different. Who? No, I'm just fucking with him. But you could tell that it was very politically influenced, which just made me fucking salty because it's like, dude, you're not even gonna like invite like the people that have been hitting this game day in and day out for years on end, and like half the people were like part-time third strike
Uh-huh.
players. It's like if you really wanted the event to be hype, then come on,
Did you
come on.
ever go to a Evo? Like before that? Before that?
Oh yeah, I've been to
Yeah.
plenty of EOs. I mean, I only played uh in Third Strike
Uh-huh.
in one of them. Um, but yeah, I didn't really do much like because I didn't really. I mean, I played the newer games, but I didn't really like grind any of them really
Mm.
much a lot.
Okay. So, next word is rival. Yeah,
A
just rival.
rival,
Yeah, rival.
like the little
Yeah, I
rapper
guess
kid.
so. Yeah, rival, like Rival. Like find a new rival.
Oh, like a
Yeah, like
rival in
rivalry,
general.
rival. Yeah.
Oh. Well, I mean, just my demeanor, like everyone's like on the chopping block for me.
No
But
pun
it's
intended, right?
funny. My rival, got it. No, but it's funny. My biggest rival was a guy that never went to tournaments or never, when I was learning and getting
Uh-huh.
good, he was. His name is Andrew. He went by like Drooby. Like no one knows who he is, but he's actually any game that guy plays, he's
Mhm.
he's really good. Like he didn't travel or anything, but he's like my one of my best friends, and for a while, as long as he played every so often, he could always beat me. Like until like he stopped playing completely. And it was just like, that's the homie. Like, no, you cannot beat me. Like, this is not supposed to be happening. Like, so anytime he would beat me or anything like that, he would really like he just came like, no, this is our levels are too similar right now. Like I always wanted to grind more, you know what I mean? So that's the main
Mhm.
rival.
All right. So next term, Japan.
The Haven.
Have you ever been to Japan? No.
No, I haven't, dude. I okay. So I played in two SBO
Mhm.
qualifiers. To first place would have been the ticket for your
Mhm.
team to go to Japan. I beasted in
Mhm.
both of them, and my team let me down both
Uh oh.
fucking times.
Throwing throw, throwing the team under the bus.
You guys fucking are godlike players, but why did you
That
suck
day.
that one day? Why did you just blow, dude? Like I was on fire, dude. I was like OCVing
Uh-huh.
almost every team. Like and that's when Rom would get his spankings from me, like both years, just bye Rom. And then I couldn't beat Ricky
Wow.
Chun. I can't beat Ricky Chun. But the second year I had a backup plan. I'm like, oh, I'll have a Chun of my own and a
Uh-huh.
Ken of my own on my team. You beat Ricky Chun, I will take care of the
And
rest. That's all. That was my game plan. Just please beat Big Ricky Chun, and I
who
will
was the
handle the
Chun player?
rest.
Okay,
Let
it was
blood
Ryan.
run.
Okay. And
Ryan's
yeah.
really good, but god damn did he suck that day.
Oh, he's gotten a lot better. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
No, I know he's even
Who
better
was your Who
now.
was your
That's
Ken?
what's fucked up.
Who was the Ken?
Vinny, Vinny,
Huh?
Vinny. Do you
Oh
know
yeah,
who
Vinny.
Vinny
Vinny.
is?
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Vinny, probably like excluding Yi, like
Oh
one of the
yeah, I
best
remember that SBO
uh,
quals.
uh, Ken players. Like Vinny was sick. He was doing stuff that like a
Mhm.
lot of people never even did. Like he would dude. You could try to low forward EX fireball this guy, and he
Uh
would
huh.
red parry the first fireball and up at you. Like he did
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like I remember him. He was good. I mean, I still owned him, but.
Okay. So next term, something that I added during the break because I just, we were just kind of reminded of him. Ghetto D,
Yes,
Don
Ghetto D.
Snedden.
My like. So
So for those of the people in the stream might not know him, so maybe you should enlighten everyone, Ty, as to who he is first.
so yeah. If if me and Ghetto D were walking down the street, you probably thought it was father and son. Like, no, but Ghetto D was the older, at that time,
Uh-huh.
the Alex. Um, if you ever hear like the Dawn Bomb or anything like that, that's from Ghetto D. Um, and what's funny is like he was the Alex that I wanted to
Uh-huh.
overcome. You know what I mean? And he wasn't like a scary Alex as far as like mix-ups. He was a scary Alex as far as normals,
Yes.
footsies, and zoning, and just neutral. Like I don't think I've ever lost to someone in the footsie game as bad when I was starting as
Hmm.
against John.
Don, yeah.
Don.
Well, who did he grind with, right?
Like, well, right. His grinding partner was Watson. You know what I mean? So, what's funny is after I lost
Uh-huh.
Alex versus Alex, just straight up, just neutral zoning, like I was like, no, never again. Like I infinitely got better about focusing on zoning and stuff like that. Now I'm pretty good at it, but that was the first time I was like, holy shit, you can beat somebody with just pure spacing. Like I could, it was pretty pathetic the first time I like ran into that. I was like, oh, what do I do?
Yeah.
It was
Most of
bad.
my memories
But
of Ghetto D are more
mm,
about his about what kind of character he was. he was like he
oh
was always
no,
the
he
funniest
was a
guy,
character,
man. He
dude.
was always the funniest guy in the arcade. Um, he
Yeah.
probably would have gotten arrested for the way he treated Kenai back in the day. He
Oh
was-
yeah, no, it's not like he's like fucking role model, but he's
yeah,
definitely a really funny
I remember
dude.
this one day, this one time at Camelot. I remember this one night at Camelot. We're playing Third Strike, and Kenai has he bought a pizza. Remember those pizzas at Camelot? I don't know if you ever remember going to Camelot, but
I didn't do
but
much
they had some
Camelot, but
godlike
yeah, I know
pizzas there
what
at
you're talking
Camelot
about.
Arcade, in Orange County, and Don just took Kenai's pizza from the plate and he just took a bite and Kenai and all Kenai did was just walk back to the food place and just get another slice. I don't know why I found that so funny. It's just
Well, it's just because I mean, if you
uh,
guys have never met Kenai, like
oh
number one,
god.
talk about like the total opposite of
Uh,
Don, but also in his own right, an extreme character. So it's just funny that interaction between the two. That's hilarious.
and so, well, now that we're on the topic of Kenai, I mean, do you have a Kenai story, a favorite Kenai story? I mean, I know we all have Kenai
Oh
stories,
God,
but
dude, there's a billion Kenai stories. How about do you guys know who Kai is? The guy
runs
that
West Coast Warzone.
runs.
Uh,
Yeah.
Chun player.
Um, so we're outside of
Mhm.
Family Fun, and I recently saw Kai at West Coast Warzone. He's in much better shape now, just so you know, guys. Uh, where there was this like overhang, and there was a bar, and like people, we were just like
Mhm.
fucking around, and we're like everyone's doing like pull-ups on it,
Oh
and then
shit.
like, and then Kenai, and then eventually Kai walk up, and then like Kai's like, ah, you stupid. It's like this, you can't do a pull up. Oh, so whoever like he's talking shit
Uh-huh.
about somebody, and then like Kenai gets on it, and then he's like, but he like kind of like magically like walks up invisible stairs and like gets
Uh-huh.
above the bar and does it. He does fun, and we're like, oh shit, Ken. And then like Ken's talking a bunch of shit, gets on it, couldn't do a pull up. I think he was working a lot. He was a little
Yeah.
heavier then. I'm sure he can do a
Uh-huh.
pull up now. But I mean, and then there's the times where you'd be hanging out with Ken and he'd just start talking in a Texan accent. just for no reason. You could call him out on it, and he wouldn't even acknowledge it. He'd do it for hours. Like, that's just Kenai, dude.
I don't remember because I'm like so old now. Maybe I've told this story already. But I know I didn't tell you this. I've never told you this story, Ty. But did I ever tell you the story where Kenai kidnapped me and forced me to do Virtual
Oh,
Fighter tutorials in his dorm room?
that was a theme with Kenai.
I wasn't
He
the only
kidnapped
one.
me and did Tekken. No, he did it to me. He did it to Amir.
It was an initiation thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it now. I don't feel so bad.
You're his friend.
Yeah,
when
when he's kidnapped you and forced you to do tutorials in Virtual Fighter. Yeah, that was funny.
With me, it was.
Shout outs to
Yeah.
Kenai, man. We miss you, man. I don't even know where he is now. I heard he lives in Japan. Yeah.
Japan.
All right.
Yeah.
So next term, Chun Li.
Oh God. Person that the character that has fraudulently taken so many tournaments away from me. Honestly, dude, I think, yeah, Chun-Li, I think majority of my losses, like maybe 80% of them, this against Chun. I mean, yeah. Yeah.
Because people in the chat, man,
I hate
they're waiting for that Chun versus Alex tutorial. I know you had a little preview, but I don't know if it was quite finished, that video.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just did it a few weeks ago. That's all you
we're
guys
gonna
are
get?
get.
All right, well, that's all we're gonna get.
I mean, unless I don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah, I wouldn't. hold
Yeah,
out
they're
much
talking
hope.
about Genki. Remember when Genki beat MOV he almost beat MOV. Oh, he did beat MOV, right? SBO, the last SBO. I mean, that was just
Mhm.
basically like Genki just guessing right, like every situation.
Well, right. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've
Yeah.
beat Chun before. I mean, I've beat Amir in
Uh-huh.
tournament before Alex versus Chun. Like,
Mhm.
it can happen. Like, but you gotta understand. Like, I was just playing out of my mind, and Genki was making godlike. Like he just 100% guessed. And it worked out. Like he guessed right each time. Like, when it counted. So I mean, but the problem is that Chun does not need to rely on guesses to win.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like at all. So.
All right. So just a few more. Power bomb or neck dunk or whatever you want to call it. What's the exact name for it?
Just the bomb.
I wonder what the
power bomb?
No, hyper bomb is the
Which
super,
one?
but the regular one
Yeah.
is neck dunk. I think the let me see what the proper
Wait, are you
Alex
serious? I thought it was always power
Alex
bomb.
special moves. No, it has a specific. I don't know. Maybe it is power bomb. I could have sworn it translates into something
okay.
else, but well, whatever. Power bomb, command grab, Alex's command grab.
Love it. It's the best film in
Is
the
it?
world. Yeah.
Because it's
dude.
not like super broken, right? It's like you really have to
Oh, no, it's not
really have
good.
to earn it,
It's not
right?
amazing.
And so when you get it, it's like
Yeah,
it feels
dude.
really good.
Yeah, and he just like lifts your ass
Uh-huh.
up in the air, and then the whole descent is just like, he's just the best.
What's your
I
favorite
love
setup for the power bomb? You like the Genki bomb? You like the, what do you like the little tick?
The quick
Rise
rise
power bomb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. I'll find a video one day and show you. But quick rise power bombs,
Dude,
that's my
nobody,
favorite. I love it.
Every other Alex player, at least American Alex player, I've never seen them try.
It's because this is what they do. Number one, they don't expect you to quick rise, so they dash up and they'll do like this is prime example. I do it to Ken's when they do the axe kick, the overhead. So they do dash up, axe kick overhead, and if I hesitated a little bit, I would have to block it or get hit. But there's just enough time to quick rise power bomb before it hits you. And I just love doing that shit because that's fucking garbage. Like honestly, Wait, Powerbomb on Wake Up is really bad, dude. Like,
Yeah, right.
it's so bad. But I just love doing it because it's just like, what? Oh, like, just such a like wake up, wake up
All right.
call.
Best American Third Strike player ever in history. In history, just
Best American
ever.
Third Strike player? I mean, it's Pyro. There's not really much like. I don't think that's really like an argument
Oh,
to
oh,
me, honestly.
there are
But
people in the chat. I can identify in the chat that would argue with you, but
let me look at this chat list. Who? What? Okay, you don't gotta call them out, but who would their pick be?
some people would say maybe Justin,
Justin
Justin
who?
Wong, maybe. Because of.
Please, what?
I mean,
Have you actually seen Pyro versus
yeah,
Justin?
yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah. No,
happened.
there's videos of it. There's footage of it, but so. Flo, Colton says Flo. No, he's just trolling. All right, and last but
Yeah.
not least, best American Alex player ever.
I mean, it's got to
Oh,
be
okay,
me,
all
right?
right, good.
No, and I'm not. And to be honest, I'm not trolling. Like, I think consistently and statistically, like, I don't think there's people that have been able to beat the players I've beaten
Hmm.
at all, or at least as much as I have. And that's really all I can say. And that, hey, I'm tooting my own horn, I guess. But honestly, I don't think when I was at my peak, which unfortunately there was not a whole lot of Third Strike still going on. But when I was at my peak, I was pretty damn good, and that's all I'm gonna say before I look like a big idiot.
But with that said, I noticed that you got on Fightcade a little bit. Maybe you were inspired by
Oh,
watching,
like kids or something
right?
like that.
Maybe you
Yeah.
were inspired by seeing
Mm-hmm.
me stream Third Strike. Um,
Yeah, actually, that's what did it. Like, well, I tried to play Street Fighter Five, and that ended going horribly. And you were streaming earlier that day, so I was like, I'll try Fightcade. I
uh-huh.
didn't even like. I haven't played Third Strike in years, but
and,
let's
and
do it.
so I saw you play Third Strike a few days ago. What are the chances that you might,
Mm-hmm.
you know, maybe now that you're a little more settled, both financially and personally and everything, what are the chances that we might see you participate a little bit more in current Third Strike events? Because I know there are a lot of players that would love to have you back, sort of participating and playing in events like, for example, TFC, which is set to go down in October, Raleigh, North Carolina. You know, um, what are the chances that you might come out to events like that?
Well, okay. I definitely want to. Like, I definitely want to. I fear that I will be a little bit of a letdown in
Hmm.
my current state because I haven't been playing Third Strike at all, other than that other day you saw me. Um, so I don't think I will be much of a challenge, but I'd love to play Third Strike with actual people that like playing Third Strike and actually play it. I'd love to do it again. So if you keep me posted and remind me about certain events, I will try to make one of them because I that actually sounds like a lot of fun.
Well, last year's TFC was a lot of people enjoyed the event, and this year's TFC is only going to be bigger. And so,
Oh, really? Okay.
we I think the Third Strike community, the current community, would love to have you back, Ty. Would love to have the best American Alex player ever, right? according to the
Hey,
Book of ReNiC.
hey, man. If you want to like look, I'm not gonna get into it, but I don't think there was a person that could beat the people and did beat the people I beat. But that being said, I am free to Chun. So if you're an Alex player that destroys Chun,
You might
you might
they
have
might
me
have you. They might
there.
have you. All right, all right. So you heard it here.
And that's no disrespect to current Alex players, by the way. There's, Alex is a good Alex. His name is Alex. I think Sanchez is a good Alex. Durlap's a good Alex. I'm sure some West Coast Alexes are good, and the people with the weird names on GGPO. I'm sure they're good, but if you haven't gone to tournaments and competed and placed and I mean, that's all I'm really basing
Mhm.
it off of. That's really all that's the only thing I have to offer on that
Okay.
argument.
All right. Well, that sounds good. I think a lot of the people will be happy to hear that you're interested in making somewhat of a comeback. And so let's talk a little bit about what you've been doing aside from Third Strike. You already mentioned. Sorry, just my eyes are watering for some reason. I guess because I'm so emotionally moved by the prospect of having
Yeah.
ReNiC back in the scene.
Oh yes.
uh, anyway, so we already touched a little bit on your efforts to play five, but you also play Guilty Gear.
Mhm.
Just most recently you were at West Coast Warzone. Did you make it on stream? I don't know if you made it on stream or not.
I did. Okay, so few things about Guilty Gear. I would have never gotten into Guilty Gear, but Kugi, Broken Tear Kugi, he lives
Uh-huh.
near me, and then we're pretty good friends, and he's really good at Guilty Gear, so that's what kind of got me into it. As I started playing Guilty Gear is actually a really, really
Mm.
godlike game. It's probably the best, like, tournament worthy game that's being
Wow.
played right
Okay.
now. It really is a really good game. It's got its own bullshit like every game, but it does have a lot of universal properties like Third Strike, and it's deep enough to where you can do your own unique stuff. And every player, regardless of matchup, is probably going to feel different. So that it's a lot like Third Strike in that sense, where it's deep, it's complex, it's not all janky like the newer games like Street Fighter Five and stuff like that. Yeah, I went on stream at West Coast Warzone. I think I went like 3-2, which, to be honest, I haven't been practicing at all. I play Slayer, which is total like Alex style, like just big reads and
Hmm.
big damage. Like, what I mean? That's kind of what Slayer's about. I went against this guy, Sky's Amelia player, he's actually pretty good. Somehow I took a game off of him first, and then he got me in the vortex. But yeah, really fun. It is actually a really awesome game if you guys are looking to play a game that has more of an online presence, because obviously Third Strike is hit or miss, I guess. A newer game that you guys want to play an actual quality game, Guilty Gear, they call it God's Gift, is a good one to try
All
out.
right. Well, cool, cool, cool. So, I guess now's the time. The time has come on the Mutant Experience um, season finale. I know Kaz and Colton in the chat. They're going to be very sad to know that there won't be any more pack it up segments for a while. But unfortunately,
Oh,
I can't keep doing these podcasts 52 times a year. I wish I could. But I'm gonna have to take a little bit of a break. And so this is going to be the last segment of Pack It Up. So for those of you in the chat, or for those of you who are watching this for the first time, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's on YouTube or Twitch, basically what I do is I scour the internet. I scour YouTube for some of the more unique examples of Third Strike gameplay in the last week. This is just from the last week, Ty. Okay.
oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
really? Okay,
And
okay.
I have to say, since I started doing it, it's getting more and more difficult to find dumb shit online, and so I think
Right.
maybe this segment is doing a service to the Third Strike community. No one wants to be on Pack It Up. No one wants to be on this segment, and
I don't think I'm gonna post my video until I can actually land my
yes,
bread and butter.
exactly,
Something
exactly,
like that.
and
Okay.
so hopefully this season finale of Pack It Up will keep some of you satiated until the next season of the Mutant Experience starts up. So, are you ready, Ty, to see this week's edition of Pack It Up? All
I
right,
am.
great.
Let's do it.
And so, here it goes, guys. Oh, let's get started here. Pack it up. There's Ryu again. Nominee number 1. Oh shoot, I prepared a script and I totally forgot to read it. Well anyway, nominee number 1. Watch this Remy player do absolutely nothing to avoid eating the full Denjin at the start of the round. You know what's so funny about this clip, Ty, is that you see Remy, right? You see his hair, and then he just kind of...
Yeah, he's like...
Nominee number 2, who posts videos of themselves getting owned by the CPU. Apparently this guy does.
Oh, no.
Watch as this Dudley player lets the AI control 12 sail right over his head for the grab.
That's a satisfying show, by the way.
Nominee number 3. I've seen some really bad decisions to open a round, but this Ken player has to take the cake. Let's go ahead.
Oh, that show.
Oh.
That's like before you dance off, like
Yeah, right?
dance off. You just jump back and like do your shit.
Oh,
and
like
like,
a
now what?
DDR. Nominee number 4. Leave it to Fightcade players to make the best supers look like the worst. Watch this Yun player commit not 1, but 2 Ganesian powering fouls in the same game. This second one's just egregious right here to me. Oh my god. Jesus. Oh lord. Oh man. That second one's hilarious.
It's kind of beautiful though. Anytime Yun's getting smacked, I'm okay.
So this is
with
dedicated to you, Ty. Here's a prime example of the kind of sick mind games you can play online. So 3 times the charm for this Ken player, whose persistence pays off with this super sick read.
Oh!
watch, wait for it. Oh,
GG style move, dude. Oh.
Alright guys, so as always, pick your favorite, tweet me, let me know which one you think should be the winner of this week's Pack It Up. What do you think, what do you think, Ty? What do you think is your favorite?
5 was prime example of the rage of why that video exists. Is because, like, you know, you go down Thursday, like, oh, I'm just gonna have a fun time, blah 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 blah, and this guy wake up supers 3 times in a row, and the third one you're like, nah, not this time, not this time, and then
Yeah.
win.
All right, well,
But they forget, like,
yeah. So I don't know. You know, hopefully you come out to events, Ty. But in terms of streaming Third Strike, especially from Fightcade. Well, I mean, you know, you experienced it a few days ago, right? It's pretty hit or miss. But I did hear that, you know, I was watching your stream. You were pretty surprised at, you know, some of the level of play that you did get to.
Oh no, I only played one guy, and like I think you know, even like I'm like merely a pathetic like vessel of what I used to be in Third Strike. But that guy that I played, like, he would give me like, if I was at the top of my game still, I think he would still be a pretty like big threat, dude. Like he was doing not just smart stuff, but the stuff he was doing is in general more difficult to deal with. So even if you know, I wasn't my biggest problem is I just stopped playing Street Fighter 5, Alex.
Yeah.
And I was doing like forward fears to like start my combos. I'm like, this isn't how
no
this
guard
works.
crush in
Like,
this
why
game.
am I doing? God, dude,
Yeah.
it's so bad. But that guy, like, I was surprised. Like really good players exist online now. Like, that's crazy to me, you know. So that's pretty cool to see, though, too. It means like people kept playing after I, like, you know, went and bought a house and like have like 1 billion animals now, and like people are like, now I come back and there's all these like third strike monsters that can do all this shit. Like, it's pretty cool.
And I guess maybe that's kind of the theme of the show, right, Ty? Because, you know, 3SO came out, we were all a bit disappointed, but maybe it just took some time, and this is the product of it, you know, because there's some really strong players on Xbox Live, PSN, And like you said, there are some really good players on Fightcade. Despite me obviously
Mhm.
poking fun at online Third Strike.
See, and that's the thing is I only played
Hmm.
one guy, so I don't even know if that's like their
Yeah.
best guy or like their middle level guy. Like for all I know is like I could play somebody else and it could be 1,000 times better than the
Hmm.
guy I played and just mop me up. Like I don't even think I beat that guy more than he beat me, but I mean that's just the way I've always been. I'm actually like the worst casual player on earth, but that's okay. So I don't know. Maybe there's even more better like GGPO players. Like unfortunately, I don't. That's not like my
Hmm.
realm at all. So I don't know.
Well, I wouldn't mind seeing you stream from there more often. If that's something you planning on doing, maybe. But
I mean, I'd be down to do that every once in a while, but the current Third Strike gods, I hope they're nice to me, don't like double perfect me every time or something like
So
that.
for those of you who want Ty to play more Third Strike, whether it's on Fightcade or Xbox 360, I don't even know if you have an Xbox 360 still. um, but
No.
yeah. So for those of you who want him to play more Third Strike, obviously follow him on Twitter. You can see his handle on the lower hand corner at ReNiC. Is there anything else you want to do plug before we get out of here, Ty?
Not really. I mean, those
Yeah.
are my channels and all that. They're easy to find. Unfortunately, I don't update them at all anymore, but every once in a while I'll drop something. So if you like really weird random videos, then you can subscribe to that. But otherwise, just hit me up on Twitter if you got something to
Cool.
say.
And so before we get out of here, I just wanted to. Oh, sorry, that was the wrong slide. Before we get out of here, just wanted to let everyone know that you've been watching the Mutant XPerience podcast. You can watch the replay of this podcast and the other previous episodes on my Twitch channel and both my YouTube channel and the Shen's YouTube channel. Shout outs to the Shen for hosting some of my videos to get it out to more people. Shout outs to the Boiler Room West Coast Third Strike players for holding it down. Also, the UK Gunner Trash Kids who play at Violent City. And so, and just a couple of
Hmm.
events that are coming up. Hype Spotting 6 in Scotland. They're going to have Arcade Third Strike. Recently, I heard that,
Are
yeah.
you serious?
Recently, I heard that Nia Bond is going to be attending Hype Spotting. He's very very hungry. Obviously, Texas Showdown. I should have made these slides a lot slower. Texas Showdown, May 6th, May 5th through 7th, and then on the same weekend, the Hadou tournament in France. And then, of course, Combo Breaker, May 26th to 28th. So there's a lot of Third Strike coming up in the next few weeks. Just in May alone, there's Texas Showdown, Combo Breaker, the big tournament in France. Remember that Rikamaru is going to be there. Exodus, the last from Alaska, the French players, the UK players. And so definitely check that out. So again, guys, thanks for watching the Mutant XPerience. Like I said before, this is kind of the first time that I started doing these podcasts. Um, I feel like we've come a long way. Actually, the first podcast I did was with Ryan, but I accidentally deleted it.
Oh,
So there
oh,
is absolutely no evidence of it ever happening. But I think that was better. I think it's best for it because that podcast was pretty crappy. One of the tough things about doing podcasts with people that you know and like are really good friends with is that there's like absolutely no structure. Like me and Ryan just talked about
right, yeah.
anything and everything. It's just hella random. But we'll start it up again. Uh, you know, probably later in the year. Um, but in the meantime, I'll be streaming Third Strike. Trying to get the word out for different events. And so in the meantime, if you guys have any suggestions on future guests, if you would like Ty back on the show, definitely tweet me and let me know what you want to see on the Mutant XPerience. All right. So once again, thanks Ty for joining me tonight. It was nice going down the trip on memory lane, and it was even better
Yeah, yeah.
knowing that you're considering maybe participating a little bit more in the current scene.
I think that
Now
would
that
be
you're
fun,
now
yeah.
that you're famous, right? You just
Oh,
no, but
yeah,
you really are
yeah.
famous now.
Why?
Just
What
because
do you
you're
mean?
like this
What are you talking
legendary Third
about?
Strike player.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, I think it was more that, like, hey, that guy's pretty good at Third Strike. Oh, he also makes funny videos. And then it's kind of like they
Yeah.
grew off of each other, I think,
Well, whatever the reason, you were
But
responsible for it, so that's all that matters.
right. No, it's always been a fun thing. I just hope, if I ever do make it out to a tournament, that I don't disappoint. I might have to, like, have a week of training with, like, I might have to flat a calorie to, like,
Yeah,
brushing up or something because
yeah.
I'm feeling the rust. But it sounds really
You'd
fun
have to
regardless.
live in the boiler room, for a week or something. Sleep on that
Right.
couch or something. All right. So once again, Ty, thanks for being on the show. I really appreciate it. You're welcome back anytime. So once again, guys, thanks for watching the Mutant Experience. And so this is Mutant XP signing off, and I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.
See you.